Hey, what's up, guys? Ryan Kostrowski back with the DFS 5-pack slash fantasy sports consulting. Here today to give a few more tips. We're just going to talk DFS for a couple minutes. Different things to keep in mind when you're setting your lineups for DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo, whatever it might be. When I'm all done covering these 5 different things at the end, I'll go into a little more detail about the advanced services I provide. If you're interested in listening, go ahead. If you're already a member or don't want to, that'd be a great time to click off the video and go do something better with your time. Anyway, we will title this 5 things to think about when playing DFS, mostly geared for NBA because that's what time of the year we're at. Part 2, because I have a different one, a part 1 video. So I'll go through these 1 through 5, and hopefully you guys get something out of it. Number 1, there is absolutely no replacement for watching NBA. You can read all the stats that you want. You can read all the write-ups from Roto Grinders or any of the other million websites out there, but there truly really is no replacement for watching the NBA and understanding it. I know a lot of you will be watching this video at different times, but it's the 28th of January, and last night was a perfect example. I had my lineups pretty well set, and then we find out pretty much near the last hour or so before tip-off, Al Horford is out. Now we need to start adjusting on the fly. Next up, Brooke Lopez, Carl Levert out for the Nets. Okay, we need Karis Levert. We have to move on from there. After that, one of my top plays of the day was Dwayne Wade. We find out he's coming off the bench for discipline reasons, and now we need to adjust on the fly with all these things, which you don't have a ton of time to go back and start researching. So you need to do a lot of this stuff just using some of your own basic knowledge, common sense, or whatever it might be, just because they don't give you a lot of time. It is the double-edged sword of NBA DFS. It's great when you can be around to pay attention, but if you have a life, which I'm sure some of you do, it's not me, you may not be around to make those adjustments. So it's a tough part of NBA DFS, and it's a real issue that comes up for a lot of us. Now, you don't need to watch 25 plus hours of basketball a week like I do, but watch some games on Thursday night when TNT plays them, Wednesday night when ESPN plays them. If you get the NBA network, you get an opportunity. Just get a little understanding of why guys score the way they do. And if you just get a little more understanding of game flow and how things work out, it should help your overall ability to adjust on the fly, which is a big part of NBA DFS for all of us. All right. Number 2, and I've brought this up before, and I will continue to bring it up. I think there are very few things as important as to understanding why your guys succeeded or didn't succeed. To me, it's one of the most important things that a lot of novice DFS players don't really pay attention to. So, did your guys just miss shots, or was it just a bad play? And that's one thing you have to pay attention to. Like, I'm a normal guy. I'm not a great basketball player, but I can play basketball if needed to be. If I go to the YMCA and just shoot uncontested three-pointers, I'm probably going to make about 4, maybe 5 out of 10 of them on average, uncontested three-pointers, right? Doesn't mean that I can't go 8 for 10 or 1 for 10 if I'm just missing a little bit on each side or if everything's just going right in. And just think of your guys that are playing for you the same way. You might take a great shooter, and he may get 5 or 6 wide-open three-point shots, and normally he hits 2 of them, which is 7 drafting points, but he takes the offer. Not only is it the shots that he misses, it's the fact that now he's losing confidence. He's likely going to be less engaged on defense, and his teammates are less likely to feed him the rock, which means less shots and less opportunities for assists. Some days shots just don't go in, and it sucks when it works against you, and it's great when it works for you, but I don't want to make it that simplified, but it truly is. It's a make or miss league. Some days shots just don't go in. And some days rebounds won't bounce your way. If you're a real hardcore DFS player and you're watching a lot of basketball like I am, there's very few things as frustrating as when your center is just the ball never bounces its way. Maybe you pick a guy who averages 9 rebounds a game and he finishes the day with 4, and you watched 10 rebounds where he had rebound opportunities where he had the guy blocked out, and it just bounces off the other side of the rim. It sucks, but it will happen to you from time to time. Otherwise, did they not get their minutes? Did they end up having a bad defensive matchup because somebody else, covered them they thought they would? Those are the things that you look for, and you can think, well, maybe I screwed that up. I made the mistake there. I misread the situation. And that's something you put in the back of your mind, and you think about it at a later date. It's something that hopefully you won't make the same mistake twice. So know the difference between a bad scoring night and shots not falling and where maybe you made the mistake. I've been victims of both a million times, and I will be a million times more. But understanding why it worked or didn't work to me is so important. every once in a while, I'll get a message on this YouTube channel or on Twitter or whatever, and somebody will say something like, "Hey, thanks a lot, asshole, for recommending this guy. You sucked last night." Okay, he got hurt in the second quarter. There was really no way that I could have prevented or known that. So look for why somebody succeeded or didn't succeed, understand it, and it can only help your overall profit margin and help you make better decisions going forward if you understand why. And you're not just picking guys because you heard one or two good things or bad things about them. Okay. Understand number three. Understand your Vegas odds and win people score. So I'm going to use the examples of two of the big guys we have in NBA DFS, James Harden and Russ Westbrook. These guys offer insane salaries, right? But they put up so many points that they're always worth at least taking a look at that day. Now we're coming off of a James Harden damn near 100.9. That's not usual. But what you know about these guys is if they don't get their fourth quarter minutes, it becomes very hard for them to reach or achieve value. Reason being is guys like this in close games, if it's a close game, Westbrook literally just takes the ball every single drive at the end of the game, and he can give you 20 points in the last 6 minutes like that. If he doesn't get those minutes, it can be bad. One area where I see people making mistakes a lot is they see good player versus bad team. Now, I like good players versus bad teams on the road because that bad team is more likely to be competitive. Where I don't like is if Houston is hosting a garbage team who's on the tail end of a back-to-back and Harden plays again tomorrow, and there's a really good opportunity that he may not get his minutes that night. So when I say understanding your Vegas odds, I mean understand what is the likely game flow of the situation. And if you're not a big NBA guy and can't make these decisions on your own, it's really easy. Just go to Google and Google NBA Vegas odds. It'll be right there for you, give you your over-under for what the score is likely going to be and what they think a point discrepancy is most likely to be. All right. Number 4. Look at your players' schedules. Know your players, know your coaches, know who loses times on backs-to-backs and who doesn't. One of the first things I do when I start evaluating a DFS slate is I make sure I know the schedule for that day. If it's a Thursday, for example, I want to know who played Wednesday and who is playing on Friday. If somebody is on the tail end of a back-to-back, they are far more likely to be tired, especially if that was travel included. Think about it this way. These guys are people. So think about it like from this aspect. When you work a really long day, and some of you are probably on set schedules, but some of you probably have days where you work 14 hours because maybe you have a project due. The next day, are you 100% with it, or are you a little bit tired? So if these guys play a late West Coast game and then have to get on a flight and go over 1 to 2 time zones or something like that, they're people. They can be really, really tired. So never underestimate knowing or looking at the schedule and when somebody might lose time. One of my favorite guys right now, and everybody watching this knows this, I'm a huge Nikola Jokic fan. But in his young age, and the coach is still getting him assimilated, I guess is the best word. I mean, yeah, getting assimilated for a guy that averages 50 lately, but they don't give him as many minutes on back-to-backs. And his 2 bad nights came recently, and they aren't bad, but bad for his price came when he had a back-to-back. So no, John Wall, on the other hand, doesn't typically lose a lot of minutes on back-to-back. So those are things to look at. Just know that if a guy has a game the next day, so if a guy's playing the next day and they're down by 15 with 6 minutes left, it's way more likely for the coach to play him, especially Cavalier players, if there's a chance they need to play tomorrow and have a big game. So just know your schedules. It is very, very important. All right. Number 5, don't be a slave to statistics. Remember that these guys are people. They get tired. If they go deep in the playoffs, they're playing up to 100 games a year. There's a lot that can go into a person succeeding just outside of, pace of play, who's guarding them, things like that. And I'll bring up 2 examples from earlier this week. I think it was Monday. I was pushing Jabari Parker really hard on people. And I know I had a couple comments on the YouTube channel, a couple of Twitter comments, and a couple people from my group asked, why are you so big on Parker tonight? They say that, I forget who it was, but the person guarding him is a good defender and they're decent against this particular position or whatever it might be. I said, I'm tossing that all out the window today. Parker had been benched prior game for the start of the game. He had to come off the bench because he had called out his teammates a little bit via the media for not playing hard. He discussed a team meeting. He broke the rules. Okay. He's motivated the next game to play hard. He put himself out there as a man called out other people, and now he needs to step up and perform. It wasn't necessarily like a real negative thing. Like, it wasn't like he was just completely shitting on him the way Rajon Rondo did to the other guys the other day. But he called it out. He made a note. He was made an example of. He was a young guy who plays better at home, getting home from a long road trip, so you knew he'd be motivated. The Bucks were desperate for a win. All of those things made me think that he had no other choice but to have a good game. He goes out there, he busts off 50 DraftKings points of his salary of less than 7K. He was awesome that night. Worked out really, really well. All right, next day, I was looking at Bradley Beal really hard, and Beal had been really, really off with his shot. I believe he had been something like 1 for 23 from 3-point range, and then I saw him hit a couple of them in the second half, and you could see the smile come back to his face, whereas in the first half, you had seen the obvious frustration. And just think about it this way. Think of yourself, you're going out to a bar with your buddies and you're playing darts and you're missing that double, the double bullseye or the triple 20, just every single time you're missing it by that much. And it gets frustrating and you're frustrated. And then you get a couple of them and that confidence comes swelling back. That's what you could see on Beal's face by watching him that night. So I knew the next night he was going to come in confident. His shot was starting to fall and things were good. He goes ahead, he knocks about 12 points over value. He was a great play for catcher GPP. And it wasn't that I looked at the statistics of who was guarding him. I just saw a guy get his confidence back in the second half and knew he'd walk into the night rolling, and he didn't let me down. So stats are great, and I will never poo-poo on stats, and I look at them, and they help me make my decisions every single day. But if you can pay attention, if you can read some stuff on Twitter, read some articles, and just watch a little NBA and hear what announcers have to say, you can get some of these intangibles and things that could help you push you over the edge. And guys who maybe won't be owned so much, because anybody can go out and read the stats. They can go to any of those big game names out there and they will give you the plays based on statistics. It's not that hard to do. There's a million websites that will provide that info to you. But what that doesn't necessarily give you is some of the intangibles that will give you lower owned players that will help you win bigger tournaments and win smaller tournaments and win your cash games if you have the stones to play them. So that's what I got for today, guys. Real quickly, if you play DFS and if you're struggling to win and you're always one or two players off and you want to take a look at something a little bit different than just your average website that just gives you picks and projections, here's how my group functions. Every day, Monday through Friday, and now once a weekend, I will send you out an email. I will tell you how I would start a cash lineup, and I'll give you my core five for GPP. And then I'll give a very, very brief breakdown of, a good number of players also included in the slate. Simple lines like good for GPP, risky GPP play, or strictly a cash game play, or stay the hell away from. Just little things like that you can read through to get my brief opinion on it. But I'll get you started. My specialty is going to be cash games. I'll help keep your bankroll flush so that you can spend some money in tournaments and try to win some real money, or just take that money and go shopping or whatever you want to do. But outside of my daily write-ups, what you're going to get is by joining the VIP Facebook groups is you get a community of people and we attack this together. Some people might know their specific team better. We'll share some stats and talk about what what else that we're reading. We'll talk about what some of the other websites are saying. So we get a really good basis that I learn new stuff every single day. Obviously, like I say, it's my group, but I learn things from players in my group all the time because it's getting more minds together to collaborate and discuss this stuff. You get a family, you get a team of people that want to get better. Pricing is $30 a month or $200 for an entire year. I cover MLB, NBA, and NFL. If you want to try out the community, I can send you a sample email or give you like a 1 hour. I think the 1 hour sneak preview is a good opportunity to see what's all in there, and you can read my write-ups in there as well. If you're interested, hit me up over any of my social media platforms, and I'll give you a run. Besides that, sincere appreciative to everybody who watches this. Go out and have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon.